Welcome to the 13th lesson of SmartKnitter, Knit Instructions Level 2. Today we will explain various combinations of knitting symbols. Let's start with this file, which is a band with tubular structure. Let's translate and see. You can see both sides of the tubular would be linked without opening. If you want to knit a band with opening on a side, you can edit as follows. Let's change the tubular stitches to alternating front and back stitch first. You can see that after changing the order of front and back stitches, the left side is now opened and the right side is closed. Let's move on to a method to make a band with both sides opened. Click Feeder Setup, right-click on the feeder for bodice and change it to Dual Feeders, and put the new feeder onto any empty slot behind Feeder 1 and click Translate. You can see System 1 is carrying Feeder 3 and System 2 is carrying Feeder 4, and both feeders are knitting towards the same direction. Feeder 3 is knitting the front stitches and Feeder 4 is knitting the back stitches, so both sides would be opened. Please note that the frontmost feeder must set to knit the front stitches to create the opening. Next, let's make an opening between the purple and red sections. First, select the purple and red sections. Go to Knit Tools and use Split the Tubular into 2 lines. Use the Move Row tool to change the row order as shown. Then insert empty rows as shown. Shift the red section into the empty rows. Use the Fill tool to fill the back tubular stitch into one single color. Toggle to Zone Mode and change the edited area to the same zone. We can now translate again and see the result. Feeder 3 is knitting the left side of the front tubular and back tubular. Feeder 4 is knitting the right side of the front tubular. But you can see there are tucks every revolution at the front tubular, preventing the opening. Back to SmartGraph. Select the opening area. Go to Change Color, followed by Change Pattern. Use the Pattern Change function to add an empty needle symbol at the opening position. Go to Zone Layer. Ensure that the zones are converted to the same color. Click Feeder Setup to translate again. You can now see we can use one single feeder to knit this opening welt without any tucks. Let's take a look at the next example. This file has single jersey transferring to 2x1 ribs. Before the full needle symbol, we should add the front split stitch to avoid having a big gap between the rows of stitches. Toggle on the function line view. We have to set a separate speed, tension, and roller numbers for easier adjustment on the machine. Click Feeder Setup for translation. You can see there is a split stitch before the full needle stitches. Some of the machine does not support split stitch. We can use racking to achieve similar effect. Toggle on the function line. Set another number for speed, roller, and tension on the line before changing structure. Then we set racking to the left for one stitch on the first line of 2x1 ribs. We can translate and see the result. Let's move on to another example. The pattern in red needs to be tubular jacquard, and the parts in gray are bird's eye jacquard. The finished panel is in single color. We will be using one feeder to knit the panel. Let's start by filling in the tubular structure for the red part. Then we have to draw the bird's eye structure in the gray part. It is a 2x2 repeat of alternating full needle and tubular. Select the repeat and use pattern fill to fill the gray bodice. Translate to see the machine code. You can see the pattern is knitted in a single feeder, feeder 3, with two different structures. Let's move on to another file. This panel is also in bird's eye structure in a single color. We have to break up the bird's eye structure into 2 rows so that the density is correct. Mirror copy the structure to complete the repeat. Pattern fill the entire bodice. Translate and see the result. This marks the end of this tutorial. Thank you for watching.